What is going on, guys? We are working on the Weaponsmith extended mod today. I've downloaded this a couple times, done a fresh install with no success as far as loading it, but I have had other mods when I've done that in the past. So I've got a clean install this time. We're going to go through and try to do the bare basic install of this to see if we can get it to work. If I can't get it to work, I think I'm going to declare it dead. I'm basically doing this video at this point to show that I've done everything that I can do, and then I'll upload it into the posts here in order to get any feedback I can from other people who have gotten it to work in the past. As you can see, there's 6,586 posts here in the discussion. A lot of those are complimenting on how great this mod is, and a lot of them, about half of them I'd say, are saying that they can't get this to work and it's very difficult. So it doesn't seem like all that difficult of a mod to get to work on the base outset, but it's a little convoluted when you first look at it, and we'll go through and I'll kind of show you the system as I understand it, see if we can get this working today. So the first thing you do is you're going to look at the requirements right here. It does require the DLCs as well as some Nexus mod standalone requirements. We'll go through those. I've already downloaded all the files here, so I won't make you sit through and watch that. It will require a little bit of compiling and unloading on zip files and some archives that we have to extract, so you will have to sit through that, but I will try to put timestamps on there in order for you to be able to skip them when I upload the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, the important things to note here, you're going to open up the posts here. That's going to give you the discussion and, most importantly, the sticky instructions on there at the top in order to show you how to go through and install this step by step. So I followed this best I can, but again, I haven't got it working. Basically just doing this for posterity's sake so that people can look through and tell me where I'm going wrong. So if this does end up working at the very end, I will put it in the video description. That way you know and you're not wasting your time watching this. So here we go. He notes that people have had a lot of difficulty installing this mod, but again, you get dozens if not hundreds of weapons from this, so well worth it if you can get it to work. The number one step that he shows you to do is to download these frameworks. There's 4 of them. The Armor Weapons Keyword Community Resource, that's a mouthful, and then loads of ammo, new calibers for ammo, and then see-through scopes. I've already downloaded all these files. In here, we'll go back in here. This is my file setup, so you've got the PC, the desktop, the Fallout 4. This is Weaponsmith Extended for this mod. I've got the frameworks here, and then I've got all the RAR files here, which have been extracted in the total asset pack, which we'll use after the framework. So let's go ahead and go into the framework. Now I've already downloaded and I'm using Mod Organizer 2 on this. I've tried Mod Manager, haven't had any luck with that, and reading the comments, Vortex does not work on this mod, and the author specifically mentions that he would not use it. And so we're using Mod Organizer 2 in order to do this. Like I said, I've got a fresh install of Fallout, and I have a fresh install of Mod Organizer. So I've already downloaded most of these frameworks here. You've got the community resource, which I've loaded, the loads of ammo, the new calibers, the 3-screw scopes, and then I've loaded the Weaponsmith Extended as well. So as you can see, after you've gone through and loaded these up, he tells you to install the Weaponsmith Extended 2 plugin, which is what I've done, and one of the ini files. Now, one of the ini files is the big question here. I am not using the unique NPCs with Overhaul the Commonwealth. I tried to do that, could not get the mod to work with that, so I'm doing just the bare basics of this now. So I've gone through with the ini file itself, and I've actually went ahead and I took the ini file extract and I just went ahead and put it in the data folder here at the very bottom. So again, there's 2 ini files in the file that he has you download. If you go to his site and you navigate to the Files tab, you'll see a number of files that he has for offers. This is the bundled assets. This one is the 2 ini files combined, and again, I just used the first one there. So when I downloaded this, I took this one out and used it. I left this one here. This is for the WSE only ini file, and I wonder if I should just download this instead and use that instead. Let's just go ahead and do that. What? Here. All right. Okay. So, just go ahead and download this. Download. Show the folder. Alright, so we're just going to use this one instead. We'll get rid of that other one just in case that causes problems. So we'll unload that one, and then we will remove that mod. Okay, so, and then we'll go ahead and load up this other one. So we want the WSI only file. And he hasn't organized his data, right, of course. Alright. Okay, so in order to compensate for that, we'll just go ahead and go back in here. We will open this one. And we're going to extract it to put in the total asset pack. Okay. Go back in the total asset pack. Let's see, this is the ini file. We'll go into the data. We're going to copy this one, go back into the data here. I'm going to delete that one and just paste that one. Okay, we'll exit out of there. So that is done. So we've completed that step as well. Go back to the posts, scroll back down here. So that was number 2. We've already downloaded all of these files, and then we've moved them into a separate folder by themselves. So we're going to go back into, we'll go back into the Fallout mods, the Weaponsmith extended. I've put them all into the total asset pack. These are all the RAR files. This one is the total asset pack. And let me just double check. This one is going to be important to pay attention to later because there is a problem with it in step 5. But for here, we've got all these extracted into this file, and then we're going to put them all into the combined here. So, per his instructions. So this is where step 4 comes in, extracting all of these RAR and zip files using the archive 2 to extract all the Ba2 file archives into a single folder. That single folder is going to be our combined, as he will show us in his picture guide later. Now, the archive 2 is this little application right here. It'll pop up like this and just expand it. It does need the Bethesda creation kit. In order to get that, you have to go into the Bethesda dashboard. You got to sign up for it, log in after you create an account, and then do a download of the Bethesda launcher, which can be found right here. So click this right here and then click the Bethesda launcher download. Once that downloads and then you're able to sign in, it will pull up a launcher like this, and you'll have to go ahead and extract some files. It takes a while to download for me, but once you get all connected and downloaded and installed, it pops up like this, and then you'll have to go over here, click all games, and then click Creation Kit Fallout, and you can see that I've already got it installed. You don't actually need to use the Creation Kit. I went ahead and launched it just to set it up. It requires a little bit more extraction, a little bit more time, but what you want with that Creation Kit is to get a tool, and that is the Archive 2 tool. Now this tool can be found if you go into the Fallout 4 folder, you go into Tools after the Creation Kit is installed, and then you see Archive 2, and it's right there. Just click that Archive 2 exe. I'm going to exit out of that. And then I'm going to go back to here. So step 4, we've got the extraction of all these files, and then we're going to pull up our total asset pack where we've got all these files, and we just need to combine them all into this file right here. Now if you follow his picture guide, he wants it all into a folder called data, and I'll show you once we get here. So we're on step 4 right here. And then we'll remember step 5. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. We'll come back to it, but it's just really important. In the materials, weapons, MPJ, PTRS folder, delete the file with Japanese characters in the file name. And that's the one in the data folder that I just showed you from the anti-tank gun mod. So we'll go back up here. He's included the spoilers picture guide in here. It's just a drop down. He put it as spoilers to condense it. So when you click on this, it shows the drop down menu. We've already done this, we've already done this, we've already done this. This is where we're at now. So this is where the extraction of these RAR Z7 archives to make a new folder and name it combined. So we're going to put all this information into the combined. And then for any mod that has their assets packed in the Ba2 archives, unpack them using archive2.exe. This comes with the creation kit. That's what I just showed you, and that's that tool right here. And we'll get to that in a moment. First, we're going to unload all these RAR and Z files. So go back into the tools assets, and we're just going to go one by one, copying and pasting all the stuff into Combined. And we'll put it into the data folder once we're done here. And we're going to merge all these files that we can. So most of these are going to come down into the materials, meshes, sounds, and textures, and we'll have a scripts later as we go and do this. I'm actually just going to go back here, going to open the Combined in a new window, minimize this window, maximize that window. So this is the Combined folder, and this is one step above it in the total asset pack. So we just did this one right here. We're going to do the M22 next. We'll open that. Come on. Gonna just copy and paste. We'll merge all the files together. And then we'll go back, go into the materials. We can just copy these straight up over. And come back to here. We'll do this Annie. Okay, then we'll come back to the total asset. The sound and the textures we can just copy straight over. And then this one takes quite a while to move over all the information because there's like 9,000 some odd files here. So again, we will merge it. And I will leave a timestamp to skip this once it is all done, but it does take a number of minutes. So I'll check back in here once it's completed. Testing. Alright, so it looks as if that has finished up moving all those files over. So fantastic. We'll go ahead and exit out of that. And then we're back in here. So these are those plugins that we're not using, and any files. But these files right here, these 4, still need to be resolved. So that's where that file right here comes in. And before we do that real quick, we're going to return back to here on the instructions. He goes right into talking about that archive, but he skips that step. If you scroll back up, he tells you that he missed step 5. So we're going to apply that right now. So in the materials folder, this MJP PTRS file, we're going to go back in and look for that Japanese character file. So let's exit out of that. Then we'll go back into that combined. We'll go into the materials. We'll go into weapons. And we'll scroll down here to the MJP. We'll go into the PTRS, and we will scroll down. That file right there, we're going to delete. And then we will go ahead and exit out of that. We can go ahead and close this. And then, let's see. We can exit out of that. There's no need for these. Alright, so we'll pull up the archive 2. Now what he tells us to do from this, we'll go back into those pictures and scroll back down here. We're going to go ahead and select these archive 2 or Ba2 files with archive 2 in order to extract them in the combine files. So these are the service rifle and the M10 revolver that he shows. And if you go into the description, he gives you that instruction with the heads up here under the required files. This asset has Ba2 files, and this asset has Ba2 files. Another clue that he gave you but didn't explicitly state is this modular Simon's PTRS 41 tank gun. He does not list that beside here, further indicating that he wants the loose files again, not the archive files. So if you download this, don't get the archive files, get the loose files. So, alright, we'll come back here and go back into his sticky notes, and then scroll down to showing the spoilers here, and then we're going to come down here to the archive 2. Now in the archive 2, when we pull this up, we're going to extract these files by opening, and then we're going to go to the total asset pack again. Now these are the 10 files. We'll open one at a time, and then when it opens, this is what you should see once it loads. So once it loads, then we'll go to the extract 2, and then we're going to just go into the combine where it opens up automatically for me, and then we will select the folder and it will extract. Once that is done, we'll go back to open, and then we will go back into the total. We'll go back to the M10 revolver, open that, and then we will extract file as well. Now that that's extracted, we'll just keep on going. And then go into the service rifle, extract these as well. Go back in here, go back to the total asset. So that was a service rifle Redux main. We're going to go to the textures now. And then we're going to finally extract those as well. And we are not quite done with archive yet. We're going to want to go to new, and then we're going to change this to general, leave all these settings as is, and then click OK. We will come back to that in just a second. So after this is all moved over as instructed, we're going to go ahead and then create some Ba2 files of our own using this information that we have here. So again, I just want to point out the file folder path that he's got. He's got the total asset pack, the combined, and then the data. And then this is everything that we have in the data thus far. Now this information does contradict a little bit of his file folder path that he describes in his text later, but we will take a look at that here in a minute and try to resolve it then. So, but for now, we're just going to follow what he's written in the text here using the archive 2. We've gone to new, we've selected the general format, we've clicked OK, and then we are going to select 3 files in order: the materials, the meshes, and the scripts to load on. And here he tells us to select the materials, and then he tells us to select the meshes, and then he tells us to select the scripts. And then after that, he's going to change it a little bit with a new file for the archive2, but we'll just do these three first. So we will do open, and we will go to add folder, and then we're in the combine. We're going to select the material. Oh, before we do that, you know what? Let me get my files in order here. So going down to desktop, mods, total assets, combined, all this should be in that data folder there. Now, these files I have no idea what to do with, because I can't find anything in his text or his pictures to tell me what to do with these plugin files, these ESPs, so I am leaving them here for right now. This Fomod mod is, I believe, just something to tell mod organizers what to do with files, but since we're not using that, we're just ignoring that for now. So those files now being organized correctly. Let me pull this up. You can see that he's in the combine data, and then in the data is where all these files are. So we're not using the unique NPCs, so we're going to leave that off for right now. We will go ahead and move the plugin file in there, and we will move the WSE file by itself in there. I think that's right. Let me double check. I don't know if he's got the plugin file in there. He's got the Weaponsmith extended itself in there, and then he's got the INS file. So the INS file is in there. We will need the plugin later, so I'm going to leave that there. This weapon extended work in progress, if you note, he starts using it after the combine. This weapon bundles asset pack is put in there. So, but we will get to that in a minute. So, for now, we're just going to go to adding a folder, going to go into data, we're going to select the materials and load that. Takes just a second to load. Once that is loaded, we're going to add another folder. And this is going to be under the data folder, the meshes. And this one takes the longest. Alright, so that's loaded now. We're going to select now the scripts, and there's only a few scripts in here, so it loads very fast. So, as you can see, the materials here is where it starts off. That's the first folder we loaded, and then if you scroll down, it changes into meshes. If you get all the way down to the bottom, these are the scripts, and there aren't a heck of a lot of them. So, his next instructions are to save that as a Ba2 file. This is the name of it that he wants it saved as, the main Ba2. I've actually got that pulled up here, and I'm just going to copy this over. Ba2 right there. So when we load into it, we'll file and save as. Type that in. I'm going to put this under the data for now until we create the new folder. And save. Takes just a second to save, and then once it's done, we will go to File, New. We're going to switch this over to DDS, and we're going to change our maximum file size to 1024. We'll leave the string table, leave default, leave 4, leave 520 or 512 in both these. Click OK. And that is what he's describing here. We see we change it to the DDS 1024, leave everything else as is. And then we're going to select the last folder in that data file as the textures. So we will go archive, add folder, go back to the data, we'll add the textures, and this one takes a while too. So again, like the material, we'll just sit here and wait for, like the meshes, we'll just sit here and wait for a little while it loads. Alright, so once that loads, we're going to go File, Save As, and then his instructions on this one, as you can see down here, it's going to be the weapons extended to textures.ba2. We'll copy that, and then move that over into this. I'm going to go back to that data file. And the way that we set this up, the maximum file size of 1024, is actually going to separate these out into separate files. So it'll save this as 6 different files. And we will save. And this takes a little while, but we can watch it as it accumulates here. Alright, and you can see this right here, this skipping these textures right there, this is an error that pops up. So there's about 24 of these that come up when you do this under the textures. If you go here, you can actually see people talking about this. And he says this right here, errors about JPEG, TGA, thumbnail files not being included in the archives are harmless. The texture BA2 is for DDS files only. For the rest are added junk. So I'm not worried about that. So he specifically mentioned that in there. So again, we're in step 6 here. We've got 2 more steps to go once this is completed. Pull up our data file. You can see that the first file is there. The second one just popped up. Again, there are 6 of these. So this is texture 01, texture 02. We'll get all the way out here until 6, if I remember correctly. Again, this just takes a while. Got 3. And there's 4. There's 5, and there's 1 more that we need, and there's 6 that just popped up. So these are the 6 that we need. That completes our movement of those files over. Now, step 7, he says set up a folder file structure like so, Weaponsmith extended. So we're going to copy this, assets, and then the data. we've got the Weaponsmith assets now, and then he says data. So put a new folder data inside of that. Inside that data folder, place your sound folders in the Ba2 files. Okay, simple enough. So we will go in here. We will create a new file called data. Then we're going to come back out here. We're going to select these right here. We'll drop those in and then drop those in. And then we're going to come back up here. And then he says the sound files go in there as well. So we will drop the sound files into that. Now all these files are the BA files that we just moved into here. So the sound goes in there as well. And then we're going to use WinRAR to archive the Weaponsmith extended 2v2232019 file that we just made. And then we're going to import that into the mod manager and install it normally. So we'll come back up here, come back up here, come back up here. He mentions the plugin here. Did I miss the plugin? Yeah, let me see. I think it's in the pictures here at the bottom. Okay, so this is where we move the sound file into that right there. This is where he's talking about the ini files. So this is where we're at. He's got the data, the Weaponsmith extended. Now he names it WIP, and this is what I was talking about earlier with that contradiction in the pictures versus the text as far as what he's naming things. So in this he's got it labeled is this right here, but in the text that he describes later in step 7 he called it the assets. So Weaponsmith extended assets. So again, a contradiction there. Not sure if it's important or not. That might be why it's not working for me. So, but in here, in his pictures, he puts in the ini file as well right there at the end. So I'm going to go back to that file that I moved earlier here. I think I put it in data at the very bottom. So we're going to copy that, and then we're going to come back into this file. Back into the data. We will copy that right there as he has right here, and then these are all our other files. Everything looks to be similar except for the naming style that he has on this. So again, a little concerned about that. But then he puts this plugin there as well, and that plugin is the one that I have here. So I'm going to take that, copy it, move back to here, go back in, and just paste that as well. So again, looking exactly the same. This is something he says it isn't exactly necessary, but he does it. If you install a plugin by itself separately, if you don't include the ISP, you should probably put everything inside the data folder to make sure that the mod manager installs it all correctly folder as they look for the plugins in the data folder. So we'll just go ahead and do that because it seems like best practice. So now we're going to take that folder, all the assets and the ini, optimally the ISP in it, and archive it up into a WinRAR or a 7-zip. I use 7-zip, so that is what we will do. I'm going to go back up here, and we're going to 7-zip this, add it to archive. Everything here looks good, so we'll say OK. And this takes a while because it's several gigabytes large, so you can see it's working on the files here as we go. So we'll let that compile in the background. Just going to look through some of this stuff as well. It says, I name it according to the name of the plugin file being used. Now I don't know if that means that he renames this to that, or if I need to name it to Weapon Mods Extended 2 to match the plugin, or if I should name it what he's got it labeled down here with the assets name. Again, just very confusing as far as the different terminology or the different wording that he's using across these pictures and the description and the mod itself. So I wish he was more clear on that, but this is what I've got to go on. So now, once the archive is ready, then we'll go ahead and import it. He's using Mod Manager in this. I'm going to use Mod Organizer, which I've shown you already here. But I've tried Mod Organizer in the past using this, doing this same process, and it has not worked. But again, I had other mods loaded at the time, so this is a fresh install. If this doesn't work with Mod Organizer, we may try Mod Manager and see if that works. And we're at 19% here. Okay. This is the archive text that he was talking about in the ini file that we installed. That all looks good. And then he shows his mod order. Now, one of the things I questioned and that he does not have, I wondered if like maybe what I was doing wrong was all these files that he talks about here, if I need to install those as well in my mod order. But if you look at his mod order, none of those are present. So I think having put all of them into the Ba2 files, we are good. He doesn't specifically say that, but I just kind of infer it because it's not listed in any of his mod order. Now he does have the framework mods in here, like the 3 scopes and the loads and the calibers and the armor keywords. So those are all there, those are all loaded, and that matches what I have here. So I was glad to see that. He does have the unique NPCs and other things in there. So I know that well, obviously there's a way to do it, but I just could not get it to work for the life of me. And I'm hoping now that I've removed that it will be simpler. So he gives a short description of what all this mod does. It does a heck of a lot as far as the options that it has. He answers people complaining about how hard it is. I definitely sympathize with them. He's got hot swapping loads, ammo variations working in here. That's something that I haven't played with on this playthrough. I've done it a long time ago, I believe with the Modern Firearms mod that came out a while back. And that's pretty cool, to be honest with you. I really like that option. Looking forward, if I can get this to work, to doing that. People have had repeated pre-fill CTD that's crashed the desktop problems with this mod. What does he say about that? Oh, missing mesh. So this is why I don't use Nexus Mod Manager anymore, because I had a horrific problem with it not installing mods correctly in the past. That's why I'm using Mod Organizer. So Nexus Mods is somewhat outdated and hasn't been maintained, which is why they switched projects to Vortex, but he's saying Vortex doesn't work correctly either elsewhere in his question and answers. And then he says, splitting this into that, I'm thinking this is why I could not get the option done correctly into why the problem I was having with other mods. So he talks about splitting it up into 1 GB chunks. And again, that's just where the maximum size that we did the correction here for. So, yeah, so this is just his archive index text. So he thanks everybody who's involved in the project. There are so many mod authors involved in putting this all together. So really just a momentous project, and hats off to him for getting it to work. I just wish that I could better understand his instructions so that I could get it to work. So a lot of people complaining about the problems that they have to go through to get this. Some people mocking them. Yeah, just the struggle of getting permissions and quality with the Nexus. Nexus, you know, if you ever pay attention to the Nexus, it has its ups and downs and a lot of turmoil as far as people stealing assets and getting their mods torn and just drama between authors. It's really sad. I wish we could all just play games without the politics. So this is somebody complaining about the errors that they had. Now this guy says that he ran into this problem once or twice and that he was missing step 5, and that's why I was so careful and harping on that to get those Japanese character file removed. And so we did that, but I still had the problem even after I removed that. So I don't know about the loose files and removing that. I might try that if this doesn't work. So I responded to him here. And then this is just my wall of text of all the stuff I've tried, problems that I've run into. So, but anyways, yeah, I mean, there's 6,000 some odd comments on this as far as people like having problems and talking about it and praising it for how great it is. So huge mod. But again, lots of problems in installing it. So We are almost done with this. This is up to 90% here. We've got 10 more percent to go. And then once it's finished, we can try to find to load it and then launch it to see if it actually works. So I'm rather excited, but a little anxious because I'm fairly sure it won't work. The problem is that like the guns are there, but they're just invisible, which typically indicates that meshes are missing, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong as far as like compiling this, or if I'm missing like something in the ini or download or putting the ini reference in wrong or mounting it wrong. I really don't know. So that's why I'm making this videos. Hopefully people can look at it who have gotten this to work and then say, ah, here's your problem, and then I can get it to work too. So those last 2% just seems to take the longest. Alright, so once this finishes up, we can go ahead and load it. There we go. Okay, so that's our file right there. We're going to go ahead and pull that up and mount it. Go back into command, go to the data. That's our mod right there. Now this does take a while to load, but mod organizer is pretty dang fast, so we make good progress here. Alright, and then this will flash a couple times. Installation was successful. Now it says, it gives me these errors here. Plugin not found, Weaponsmith extended to ESB, but it doesn't give me, once I select this, the load, and then it loads fine. And then I don't expect it to pull it from the Nexus correctly, because this is one we custom put together and made ourselves, so it's not something that's available in one complete package on the Nexus. So I think those two errors are fine. This one concerns me more, the Weaponsmith extended to.esp not found, but then once I actually mount it, there it is. So this load order, I'm just going to move the ESM files up higher. I'm going to put armor up top. So this I think is correct. Let me just go ahead and look at his load order to make sure that's the order that he has it in. So he's got the armor keywords at the very top, and then loads I think is next. Oops, did I miss it? So loads is here. The armor keyword is there, so yeah, loads was next. And then new calibers would be after that. Yeah, so it's down there. So that is the correct load order for the ESM and then ESP sitting right there. And then let's just check loads of ammo. Oh, it doesn't have that. Is it all one word? Did I spell it wrong? Or new calibers, that's what. New calipers is there. So loads, so we got the armor, the loads, the new calipers after that. And then loads of ammo is not in his... I don't see loads of ammo listed in his options here or in his load order, which makes me wonder if that's out of place for some reason. don't see another name for it either. I might just be missing it. Okay. Level list patch, I don't know. We might return to that. The 3D scopes. Let's see. So 3D scopes is there. 3D NPC. So he's got the 3D scopes right there. Pretty dang low to the bottom. But is it lower than the weapons extended 2? Okay, so it's right above it. So all looks good there except for this loads of ammo leveled list. Little concerned about that, but don't see it in his load order. I just wonder if that's because he's got the patches instead. So we'll go ahead and launch this. I'm running it through the script extender. And then let's just see what we get here. Okay, I apologize about that. My video capture was not correctly capturing the game. So I'm going to try to load in a previous game here and see if that works. See if any of the invisible weapons that were there beforehand are now visible. If not, then I will go ahead and conclude the video, but I will do a follow-up just to make sure that start a new game and just do my due diligence to make sure that it's not working from that. So... do I have any weapons that are not visible to me now? Don't think so. Okay. Let's see, these guys have anything? We got an invisible enemy, that's never good. You know, I think because I had started this game out with the unique NPCs, that's the reason he's invisible. So we'll just go to a place that has not loaded yet and remove some of the NPCs from there and then loot their bodies to see if we can find a visible. Okay, so those are at least visible, but nothing too unique in there. I may need to change my player level in order to get something more experience-wise. Oh, let's see. Let's just try that real quick. Oh, what is it? Player add level, if I remember right? Player, no, set level. 30, there we go. Alright. Really? No, that was unflattering. So not finding invisible weapons yet, but I am finding just a lot of regular weapons, it would seem, or non-complex weapons. Ah, crud. Yeah, so there we go. That's a missing texture right there. The Glock still fires and everything, but the mesh itself is somehow missing. So uh, We'll see if that works. Okay. So this is what I got. Let's see if we can remove the music there a little bit. Okay. So I've got invisible weapons still showing up, both in screen and when I'm in the VATs. So it seems like anything that's not your standard issue just isn't there. Yeah. So at this point, I really have no idea. This one's not even showing my hands with it. What to do for this. So, yeah. And they're just all blank. So, if anybody sees this and they have ideas, comments, thoughts, give me a shout out. Let me know, and I'd appreciate it. All right, thanks, guys. And I guess I will call it a day with that. Disappointing, but yeah. Hopefully this will help somebody, and if we can get this working, I'll throw together a video showing how to do it correctly.